Hello, welcome back. Welcome to the Chop It Up podcast. This is our fourth episode. Today we have a special guest. We'll be talking about addressing the digital access gaps in technology. Our special guest is um, Guivens Andre. Do you care to introduce yourself?
Absolutely. Hey, everyone. My name's Givens. I am representing UMass Boston's Adage program, which is addressing the digital access gaps in education. Looking to be able to, have a great conversation today around some of the initiatives around this program and just exposing more under-resourced and underrepresented communities to the tech industry.
Awesome.
Okay, perfect. So we can get right into it. So we can start with our first question. Can you share a specific moment or experience for your time as an educator that sparked your interest in leveraging technology for educational purposes? Like how did you like you were a teacher first and then how did you think, wow, I can use all these skills and I can help others?
That's a great question. Um, I actually did not know that. It took someone else to identify those traits in me and sort of share with me that I could transfer these skills into technology. Um, and so naturally, I considered it and did a little bit of research, did a little bit of digging, and eventually sort of kind of like decided that I wanted to do it. Um, but it was somebody else that sort of educated me a little bit more on it and showed me the way and got me to do it.
Okay. Was it like I know like you still had like the skills and like somebody pushed you, but was it like scary? Were you like I can't do this? Like what am I doing right now?
um, it wasn't. You know what the scariest thing for me was actually leaving. The my I guess my comfort zone or what I've studied for like 5 6 years. Got a master's in to go into an unknown world. So there was a little bit of like fear from that perspective. But again, because the skills were so well transferable
Hmm.
that when I got into tech, I I didn't really have too hard of a challenge acclimating and performing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Khadijah, take it away.
Hi, my name's Khadijah. I'm the second presenter tonight, and my question is, what inspired the creation of Skillionaire Games, and what is it? How does it work? How do you integrate cybersecurity education along with gaming experiences using your product?
Yeah, so the inspiration for Skillionaire Games was all around equal opportunity and just creating resources for under-resourced communities, letting those communities know that they do belong in technology, which is such a booming industry. It's such a lucrative. It can be such a lucrative industry as well, especially if you apply yourself. However, people of color don't always have access, aren't always welcomed, and sometimes don't even know how to navigate the landscape to make themselves noticeable. So, Skillionaire Games is a way to address all of these challenges, providing access, upskilling in a fun, engaging way. I mean, I don't know, too many other companies out there that are teaching cybersecurity concepts via video games. One that sort of emulates Candy Crush. So it's a very engaging and very fun um, thing to engage in and partake in.
Um, I definitely relate to like not feeling like welcome or accessible in such like a white male dominated field because like I feel like we as like people of color we're always encouraged to like do sports, pursue like an entertainment type of industry, but we're also like we're great entertainers, sure, but we're also great like thinkers and we can
Mhm.
create and do all these things. So that's really cool.
I agree with you for sure. And that is the reason why I am thankful for the route that I'm in, which is the route of entrepreneurship, the route of investing, right? It's the hard route. It's not always the fun route. It's not as glamorous as being a rapper, or dabbing into the sports industry. But
Mhm.
long term wise, it certainly is the better option just because of the amount of growth that happens. Every day is a new day. You get to bounce around, learning from people and growing and becoming the best version of yourself, but more importantly, finding your purpose, which I'll talk a little bit more about down the line.
Okay. So, Skillionaire Games, next question. Skillionaire Games has a compelling mission of connecting youth to life changing careers. But can you delve into like a particular success story or like a helpful moment in your life or in another youth's life that made you that made you really realize how important this was or made you keep going?
Yeah. So I think I understand the question. Um, well, I think just my own story, right? Like
Mhm.
I'm a testament to the mission of Skillionaire Games, and one of the reasons why both UMass Boston and Skillionaire Games sort of um, gave me the opportunity to be their, I guess, their brand ambassador per se, or their program ambassador per se, is because of my background and my story. I mean, I'm a Haitian immigrant, came here in
Sacrifice.
Mahbule, you already. Right, I'm a Haitian immigrant. Came here when I was 5. Single mom, put me through college. Um, became an educator. Went into technology, which is an unknown field. Did my thing in technology and dove into real estate investing. And now a full time entrepreneur trying to build their own tech company to give back to my community. So that's sort of kind of like the fruit that
Mhm.
Skillionaire Game wants to bear. And I'm a testament to it. And they're just looking to create, I would say, better success stories.
I love that. I like the whole. A lot of people see like your logo and the game and the company, and they're like, "Oh, they had this. They were introduced," but like nobody sees like the longevity and the where you come from, where you are now, and where you will be. Yeah, very much so. Very much
Yep.
so.
Yep.
Khadija,
Yes.
question 4.
Question 4. So our next question is building a startup like Stillionaire Games. It requires, dedication. As you said, it requires drive and passion because like anything we do, we have to love it. We have to want it for others and it has to be accessible for people, most importantly. So can you just share a moment of setback, obstacle, adversity that you encountered in your process of creating Skillionaire Games, and how did you manage to overcome that?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of challenges that you run into trying to build a startup, but I think the one that's coming to my mind right now,
Hmm.
um, and because we're here and we're live, maybe this will get the word out. Um, it's been a challenge getting this free resource in the hands of students in the Boston area. It's a free resource, but it's just been a little bit of a challenge getting the games in their hands, seeing students create accounts, seeing user counts go up, and so finding creative ways and creative strategies to expose students to this opportunity, which is also one of the reasons why I'm here, right? Hoping
Right.
that this reaches some students and they go and visit the site and start playing the games and learn something. That's been one of the biggest challenges, um, I guess marketing it a little bit per se, and also maybe showing schools the value in it because it has such a game-ish vibe and feel to it that sometimes educational institutions may not want students to dive too much into it, but it's designed that way to engage and to encourage and to keep students on the platform. So that's been, I'd say, one of the biggest challenges.
Yeah, and most definitely, like the world now is just becoming more and more digital.
Yeah.
So it only makes sense to keep up with the pace of how everything's changing and then also making it accessible to everyone.
Mm-hmm.
I am a STEM major, and I know in cybersecurity, which is now actually a new department that will be opening at my school, because we didn't have it before, but things like computer science and a lot of tech stuff, it's not very diverse
Mm-hmm.
gender wise.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely male dominated. However, as well as you see other races, aside from Asian, you don't see that much. And I just feel like it's important to like keep up with how everything is just changing now. um, and yeah, I feel like skills other than athletic skills, other than, you know, industry, entertainment, we have to see more of our faces in. So I think cybersecurity is a great window.
Definitely. I definitely relate about like your school, like now there's computer science and data science, and now they want
Yeah.
to introduce all these other classes because they see that like they see the real potential of it. But I also have to like be cognizant of the fact that like if you go to like a PWI, you're getting introduced to it, but it's like you're the only blah 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 in the room. So I like that you like take that and we're hopefully we're dispersing it against amongst other people.
Right. Very good point for sure.
Okay. And then we have another question. In your opinion, what are some of the key factors contributing to the digital access gaps in communities of color? And how can initiatives like Skinner Games help bridge those gaps effectively?
Man, I think there's a lot of factors contributing. Um, I don't even know which one to pick. It could
What first came to mind?
what really first came to mind
First.
is what I guess what organizations who work with our youth can do. You gotta do more. Like
Mm-hmm.
you just yeah, it's gonna take a little bit of work, and y'all might get sense a little bit of passion coming out of me when I'm talking about this, but like yeah, it's gonna take a little bit of work. But if you are an organization, if you are an educational institution who says you care about where students of color go after high school or after college, you sort of have to know what's going on in this industry. You sort of have to know what's going on in the tech sector. You have to have relationships with companies, with organizations. You have to do more because who's going to do it and bring these resources to students if not you, and so that's the first thing that comes to my mind is I think our schools, our organizations can do more, and when we have free resources like Skillionaire Games,
Mm-hmm.
it shouldn't we shouldn't have a hard time getting this free resource in the hands of our students, especially if the outcome data is them learning more about cybersecurity and potentially break into an industry that is not too welcoming or where they're pretty much I'd say foreign in those fields. So that's what comes to mind. We got to start with ourselves first, what
Mm-hmm.
we can do to help our
Mm-hmm.
kind, ourselves, because no one else is going to do the work for us.
Right. And I really thought about what you said is like we're not gonna learn what we haven't had access to, or we're not gonna know what hasn't been taught to us.
Mhm.
And like cybersecurity, those types of things, they can break generational curses in our community. And
Mhm.
so that's why it's so important.
Well, that's the thing right there, right? Like, why aren't we being taught that? You know,
Hmm.
oh, the things that really like like credit scores and finance,
Financial literacy.
business,
Right.
sales and marketing, right? That runs the world.
Yeah.
Like you like there's all of these things that when you leave high school and college, you're like, huh, it was nice to learn this in school, but I can't really even apply it, in
Hmm.
80% of my life, right? And so I guess schools and organizations, if they could do a little bit more to actually provide skills and knowledge that students are most certainly going to run into after high school, after college, would be super helpful.
I definitely relate to that because I'm always thinking like, am I when I'm in class, I'm like, am I gonna really need to learn the derivative X, Y, and Z and that, and I'm gonna need to know that to do my taxes, to everything like that. So I
Yeah,
like
well, that's, not to dive too much away, but like that's what a lot of, I guess the Gen Z, you want to call it, the folks are like, is college worth it, or like,
mm,
is it better for me to go learn a skill where I can make a lot of money, and especially now that you can become wealthy off of YouTube and TikTok and a bunch of different things, folks aren't really, because they're second guessing whether the return of investment is worth it or not,
yeah.
with school, with college. Yeah.
Um, Khadija, you
And
up?
our final question. Thank you, Brianna, for the transition. So, looking ahead, what do you envision as the future of educational gaming? And how do you see Skillionaire Games evolving to meet the changing needs of its audience?
Yeah, I think gaming, educational gaming, is something that's going to be more and more pervasive. We talk about meeting our students where they're at, and creating a culture that aligns with what they're comfortable with and what they know. And the technology is out there to allow us to get extremely innovative with the
Mm-hmm.
ways we educate and engage students, out with the old and with the new, with AI, and a lot of different softwares and a lot of different things. And so I foresee technology, ed tech, to continue to play a massive role in the way people learn, not just in school, right? Because there's ed tech products out there, there's ed tech companies out there that people use, just to find new jobs, new career, new passions, new skills. Um, and as far as
It's like we have a little connection.
Yeah. Well, hey y'all, if you're watching, it's your girl Brianna. Um, please follow us. Do whatever you need to do. Get a snack because we still going. Don't
Yes.
don't play.
Don't miss out. Tune into the episodes.
Exactly, exactly. We have more coming up. Um, Follow us at the Chop It Up on Instagram. Check out the Spotify. It's coming soon. Um, Let us know where you're watching from. We also follow us for more updates at the African American Academy Youth on YouTube, and we'll be right back with Andre to do a presentation.
Yes. I thought it was like really
Could
and
you got that?
it's really cool because it seems like the only like real obstacles that stood in the way was marketing, getting the funding to actually provide the resources and programs. And of course, like I've noticed like in our current educational systems, it's things like social sciences and algebra and different forms of English. And while those things are all great, is it applicable? So, what are we really investing our time doing, learning?
Mm-hmm.
And also, like the future, like what's happening
Yeah.
after elementary, middle, high school, college? Like, what is the foundation being laid after all that time? So I feel like things like Skillionaire Games is really setting up um, greater opportunities for like the people ahead of us. And I think
Right.
it's important because present is just as important as the future.
Hmm.
So I thought that was cool to learn about. And yeah,
Right. I thought like I was thinking about my experience and like I took a little computer science class last year, and
yeah,
I liked it, but I'm more of like a biology girl. But then I was thinking to myself, maybe it's not that I didn't like computer science as much, but I didn't like the way that it was taught to me.
right, yeah,
And like maybe if with with applications like Skillionaire Games, we can have like more people who are exposed to what it's really like.
yeah.
Yeah,
And hopefully he's going to jump right into that with his presentation.
exactly.
Yeah, welcome back.
Welcome
Sorry about
back.
that.
It's okay.
No problem.
Um, yeah, so I was answering the second half of that. Let's see.
My bad.
No problem. Yeah, answering that second half of that question. I would love to just see Skillionaire games adopted by all of all of the schools in Boston, all the middle schools, all the high schools, whether they're public, charter, private, um, all the nonprofit organizations, right? Because it's all about exposing our youth to opportunities, to things that they may not know exist, things that they probably would be good at too, as well. Just
Mhm.
like I didn't know that I would do well, you know, in technology. It took someone else to shed that light on for me. And so that's my vision. That's where I see skill in their games going.
I have a question for you. As a fellow Haitian right here, hello. As a Haitian entrepreneur, how do you balance your culture with like your business?
What do you
And
mean
like
by
how do you like incorporate how do you balance your culture and your business, and how can you like incorporate it?
what do you mean by culture?
Like your culture, like your Haitian culture. Like do you have like anything that that from your culture that drives you to like keep going?
Oh
Any
yeah,
things or
you
any like
already know.
on the platform?
Absolutely. Let me tell you something, man. When you have um, family members who don't have as much resources as you might have here,
Mm-hmm.
that's that's enough to want to light a fire under you and push you and drive you and get you to um, tap into your potential and
Mm-hmm.
really challenge yourself. So I guess for me, the driving factor is my family for sure, wanting to give back to them and improve their lives to the best of my ability. Um, I'd say I'm pretty big on family and taking care of family.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, I feel like there's really nothing that I can't put my hands in and achieve
Mm-hmm.
anytime I think about their current status, especially for the ones that are in Haiti as well, which you know what that's like.
Right.
The moment I think about that, oh man, I am not sleepy. I can work all day. I can network all day and do what I got to get done to see some success shared with them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And for like me personally, I like to always like to ask my relations, like, what's your favorite like plate food combination? Like,
Oh man.
are you thinking legumes, sauce pois, fruit pink salad? Seaweed?
I'm sorry to disappoint you, but I actually do not eat fuitai. Um, and the only I would say these days, I guess my favorite Haitian meal would
Mhm.
be, uh, I guess, maimune and zabuga.
Mm,
Honestly, anything that's a lot of like the um, Haitian food that I used to eat, I don't eat anymore. Not because I
mhm,
don't love them, not because they're not delicious, but simply
right,
because I'm on a journey with myself physically and
mhm,
mentally, where I'm very cautious of the things that I put in my body. And,
Mhm.
I fast for about 19 hours out of the 24. And when it comes to Haitian food, I will only eat it if it's zavoka, moyog, banlan, uh, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
The greens. So
The greens. I
I
know
will
what
go with some cornmeal and
you
some avocados for sure.
mean. Hmm.
Yeah.
I know what you mean. I know what you mean. I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying. Sometimes the plate it should be too much. Like you can't walk after you get up after the table. Like you have to stay there.
Hmm.
I know what you
Yeah.
mean.
It
I
adds
know what
up, builds up.
it does build up. It does build up. So now that you're back and that you're up and running, do you have anything from the presentation that you want to share?
Yeah,
Anything like you want to share with the people?
absolutely. I would not mind talking a little bit about a very
Mhm.
unique term. Let me share my screen. I really love this term. It is a new term that was introduced to me by Adage at
Mhm.
UMass Boston and Skillionaire Games. And this term is Ikigai. It is a Japanese term for
Mhm.
understanding um, your purpose in life, understanding your reason for being. Now, to
Mhm.
me, and I'll dive into like the remaining components of Ikigai here to the right. But to me, when I think about like what it means to find your purpose in life, which is like the true driving factor to why anyone would want to do anything or not want to do anything at all.
Mhm.
It Purpose to me just means um, you have a gift that you want to share with the world.
Mhm.
Like you are a builder, you are a creator. You're on this planet to try and make the world a better place, and you are trying to give back to the world to the best of your ability, using your gift, using that gift. And it could be something small, it could be something big. It really doesn't matter, but it's you're actively trying to make the world a better place. So that's what living in your purpose means to me. But what ikigai is to the right, you see that there's a couple of things that make this term what it is. It's a combination of what it is you love,
Mhm.
understanding what it is you're good at, understanding how you can share this thing with the world, and how can you get paid for it, right? Like that's
Mhm.
where the entrepreneurs are created. That's where the problem solvers come about here. They want to make the world a better place, but they want to be also paid for it as well.
Right.
So this term is actually very unique to me, and I live and breathe it. And one of the questions I love asking the youth when I'm speaking with them is, you know if they could identify their purpose now, right? Or a lot sooner, or at a greater capacity, how would their life change? If you could identify the gift that you want to give back to the world at 19 years old, at 20 years old, what would life be like for you? And what would life be like for you 5, 10 years from now as well, as you're trying to share this with the world? Um, for me, a lot of the times where I have this conversation, sometimes people have a hard time understanding how they can go about identifying what their purpose is. Like, where do you even start? Or,
Right.
like, what's my gift? What's my talent? What is it that I have that I can share with the world that'll make the world a better place and maybe even put a little bit of change in my pockets? Well, I think these three questions here are a good starting point, and maybe for you ladies as well too, right? Like as you graduate high school and college and you try to understand what your purpose in life is, you want to ask yourself these questions, like, what activities make you lose track of time?
Mhm.
um, what have people typically asked you for help for? Because maybe that's something that you're good at, and it could be something that's scalable. And what have you been paid for? Keeping track of these things might be great starting points to going down the path of identifying what you're meant to share and give back to the world. The other question I love asking the youth is, where do you start? Um, and for me, it's all about trying new things. You
Mhm.
don't know, you will never know you don't like something if you don't try it.
Mhm.
Vice versa. You have to try a lot of things. Just like for me, I tried technology, I tried education, I tried investing in real estate, I'm trying entrepreneurship. And am I going to be successful at all of these things? Probably not. But one of the things is going to work, right? And as I'm
Mhm.
trying these things, I'm going to grow and develop as a human being. I'm going to become a super version of myself. And
Mhm.
Skillionaire Games is one of these things that um, people have to try, because you might find out that you absolutely love cybersecurity. You might find out that you absolutely hate cybersecurity. But no matter what, you tried something new, you've experienced growth, and you can make more informed decisions in the future.
Mhm.
Um, do you guys have any questions around that?
I think the only thing I just like I want to comment on is I really like the self reflection, and sometimes I really like the combination, like that little like the little like the wheel and everything. I really like that because sometimes you have, especially in like a Haitian household, your career will be thrown at you like you're a doctor, engineer, done. That's it. But I really like that. It's really more about you, what others, not like entirely what others think of you,
Yeah.
but what others know you're good at.
Hmm.
And like, I like it's just all about passion. Like, usually in life, people only choose one of these. And I really like that you chose a term that encapsulates having all your interests and as well as like your well-being, getting like what you love and what you paid and getting what and like doing something that can also pay you and what the world needs. I like that all of that is included, not just one.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Because finding your purpose in life, creating drive is extremely important, but at
Mhm.
the same time, it can be extremely difficult. Sometimes the experiences you go through in life will light a fire under you, and it'll shape your identity, and it'll get you to tap into the best version of yourself. And no one else will be able to ever understand why you live the life that you live, but the experiences you've gone through will do that for you. But that journey is different for everyone. Everybody doesn't wake up and they're like, you know what, this thing here is driving me, this thing here is my purpose, this thing here is my passion. And you just find slow ways to get to that point where you're like, okay, you know what, this is my passion, this is my purpose. And scaling their games is just a fun and engaging way, a good starting point for people to get on that right path and trying new things and seeing what they like and what they don't like.
I love that. I really love that. It's really inspiring to hear you talk and like be so passionate because I know a lot of people like they go into entrepreneur, they do this, do that for like reasons that are like more like to themselves and like
Mhm.
to like sell themselves, but to hear like your mission is about others and helping others grow like you've grown. That's good. That's really good.
Yeah. Um, the more you help people, the better it is, right? Like there's
Hmm.
there's opportunities to make money as you help people. And that's one of the things that I've learned about um, entrepreneurship as well. The best thing about entrepreneurship is you can create anything you want. It's a matter of finding a problem, which the world has a million of them, and coming up with innovative ways, innovative solutions for these problems, right? And ensuring that this problem is scalable, that there's enough people going through this problem, and learn from others to be able to take it a step at a time and create your passion and give back to the world. So um, definitely, definitely important there. There is a question, by the way, um,
Yes, in the
was
comments.
directed to me. The question was, so I noticed many educators are leaving the classroom. What do you think is the reason for this, and why did you leave teaching? Um, I mean, I don't know. Everyone's reasons might be a bit different.
Mm-hmm.
The reason why I decided to take a step back was because now I'm going to get real here because y'all call it the Chop It Up podcast, so I'm going to chop it up. I was a first year educator in the middle of COVID in 2020,
Yep.
right? Like I just got out of grad school,
Mm-hmm.
um, and my grandmother's sick with cancer. Um, I am, I would I am the root, the tree of my family. Just going to college and being the
Mm-hmm.
man, and it was mainly just women around me, and I'm really mainly like the guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of responsibilities fell on my shoulders, and with people getting sick, with my mom catching COVID, and a bunch of different things. Um, I was thinking about all of these things. I had met a very prominent leader within the tech space, and he appreciated my hustle and offered me a opportunity to work at a tech company which he ran 4 different occasions, which I turned down because I wanted to, be committed to the educational industry. But then
Mm-hmm.
things got worse. Things weren't getting better for my family. Things weren't getting better with COVID,
Mm-hmm.
and I had to make the right decision. And the
Mm-hmm.
right decision for my family at the time was to take a step back in education and going to go and try out tech, which I'm extremely happy I did. And I'm not, um, I was sad leaving, but I don't hate myself for trying new and different things and finding
Right.
my ikigai, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because now I'm going to give back to my students
Mm-hmm.
in ways that the school system never even thought was possible, imagined possible, and that was solely because I had the courage to leave the
Mm-hmm.
education industry to go and learn and try new things and be like, oh wow, literally every day in technology,
Mm-hmm.
I thought about my students and I'm like, yo, he would kill this right now, like
Mhm.
he would crush this right now. Like,
Mm-hmm.
how do I give this back to him? And I
Mm-hmm.
found a way, you know, and so I'm excited to be able to um, give back to my community. And I think I left teaching to come back in a greater force. I didn't really leave. I just took a step back because I'm coming back.
That's awesome.
Right.
Yeah.
That's like amazing. Like you left the space even though it was like even though it was like scary and even though it was like it was because you had like all these pressures on you, but like it was almost like what's that saying? Like pressure makes diamonds. And like
Yeah.
so you had all these things and you had all these things to like get on and do all these things, but you got out of it and like you got out of it like a better and stronger person.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and we talk about like your purpose in life. I felt restricted in the classroom.
Hmm.
And what I mean by that is I had amazing conversations with my guys, right?
Hmm.
Um, but I did not like the fact that I could only impact the guys that were in my classroom, the young ladies that were in my classroom. I
Hmm.
wanted to have impact on all of the students across the system, and I couldn't do that. The
Right.
best way for me to do that was to leave education and come back and create a technology that could be more expandable and accessible to students, no matter if they're in my classroom or not. And so that for me is like the true mission. It was the true driving point. I just wanted to give back at a greater capacity. I didn't want to just give back to the students that were in my room.
Wow. Do you have any final like thoughts or any more slides on the presentations, like any final closing remarks for our audience? Anybody watching you?
Yeah, definitely. I would say um, I'm going to share this last
Hmm.
slide here. Online tech communities to join. Um, just because you join these communities, it does not mean that you are going tech. It doesn't mean you're going to get a job in tech. It doesn't mean you have to do anything. It just means that these are communities that exist for you to learn a little bit more about this space, cybersecurity. I know one question that I often get is, hey, do you need to have a technical background to work in technology? And the answer is absolutely not. Did you know that almost half of tech jobs are non-technical?
Wow.
Many of them are
So
revenue.
I don't need to like be doing no Python, Scratch, none of that.
Nah, many of them live in a company's revenue generating department,
Mhm.
whether it be sales or direct sales, indirect sales, marketing, customer success, project management. Like there's so many, and the unique thing about these jobs is a lot of people have these skills that are transferable into these
Mhm.
jobs. And many of these jobs also don't even require a college degree. So we have a lot of options. Um, we just need to be able to access them with the right resources.
I love that. I love that. Well, like, thank you so much for joining our podcast today. It was a pleasure. I feel like I learned so much, and I feel like, I don't know, it was like an industry that I wasn't really interested in, but now I realize that, like, you made it more accessible to me and to our viewers watching. And I just want to say thank you. Follow him. Look up Skillionaire Games. It could really change your life. Follow him on Instagram at like AV Jobs. And yeah,
Well, thank you so much for having me. This was fun. I always welcome the opportunity to learn from others, and as well as share some nuggets with them as well. So, thanks so much for the opportunity. This was fun.
Great.
great. Well, follow us at Chop It Up, at the Chop It Up Pod on Instagram, and look for more of our content on YouTube under Afro American Academy. Thank you so much. Bye, y'all.
I guess.